Okay. Down the left side are the consonants, and across the top are the vowels. We will do the consonants first. I'll give you the stroke patterns. I wouldn't say they're terribly important. Down the road, when you're trying to read a Korean person's writing, it can be, it's not messy, but it's almost like cursive, and trying to sort of distinguish which one is which letter is what. Then the stroke patterns will start to sort of come in handy, but it won't be often, it's not that useful, but I'll give it to you anyways. The first one is the G. The stroke pattern is across to the left and down. Okay? Without lifting your pen or pencil, just one stroke. Okay? Across and down. For all intents and purposes, this is the G. To say a little bit more about that, there will be times when it is more of a soft K sound and a hard G. Okay? This doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but it will down the road, and every time we see it, I'll sort of mention it. One example of this is the city Gwangju, okay, which used to be spelt with a K. And then around the time of the World Cup, they changed it to this spelling. Okay? It used to be a K, now it's a G. Just kind of signifies that neither one is actually correct. Neither one, it's in that middle ground somewhere. That being said, this is sort of background stuff, and we'll perfect our pronunciation as we go. For now, for simplicity's sake, just remember it as a G. Okay, go home when you're studying it, just remember G. Because for the most part, it will be a G. It will be just a regular G. And there will be a lot of times rules governing when it goes to the K. And we'll certainly talk about those, and I'll point them out whenever we come across them. Okay. Next one is the N. Down and across. Okay? Again, one stroke without lifting your pen or pencil. Okay? This is the N. Okay? No funny business about this one, no hard and soft business, just a regular N. Okay? The next one, stroke across, down and across, okay? First stroke is across, second one, down and across, okay? This is the D. Okay? This one, like the G, has this soft, hard business, okay? So it'll occasionally be a soft T and a hard G. Okay, it'll be in that middle ground. And the city that represents the example for this is Daegu. Okay, the city Daegu used to be spelled with a T, and then around the same time they changed it to a D. Okay, just showing that it's kind of in that middle ground. Okay. Next one. Next one down is the Lil. The first stroke is across and then a small tick down. Okay, one stroke. Across and down. The next stroke, left to right, joining the middle, and then down and across. Okay, so you're making a G across and then an N. Okay, first stroke, second stroke, third stroke. Okay. A little bit about this one. There are two cases for this. The first case, it is what I describe as a flick of the tongue. Okay? In books and signs, when you see this written phonetically in English, it's written as an R. But they don't have an R. We don't have a sound that we can associate with this, so R is sort of what they've accepted as the closest thing. But what it is a flick of the tongue, and I'll give you an example now. This, we haven't learned yet, but is the M. This one with the tick downwards is the vowel U, okay? And then in the bottom, we have this, okay? So this together would be mul, mul, okay? Now, the next, this is one block, okay? A block basically is a syllable, which we'll get into more in a bit. Let's put another block next to it. Again, we haven't learned these sounds yet, but we will in a few minutes. This circle is a silent, when it's in this first position, is silent, okay? This is the E, okay? So this would be mul, E, okay? Now in this case, this is silent. This consonant down here will come up and fill that space. And in this case, this is when this leal will be a flick of the tongue. So we won't say mul-E, we'll say muri, muri. Okay, it's got that flick, ri, muri. Okay? And the counter example of that, okay, is the time when it is a true L. Okay? There are times when it will just sound exactly like an L. And I'll show you that situation now. So let's take our mul again. If you see this kind of scribble, this is my quick way of writing the L. Okay? Mul. And then, where in this block we had the silent ian, okay, the silent consonant, here we have another L. Okay? And this is the situation when you have an L in the final position of a block here, and then in the first position of the next block, this will combine to make a true L sound. So where this one was muri, muri with the flick, this one is muli, muli, okay, true L. Every time we see this during our readings, okay, I'll make sure we'll point it out, we'll practice it, okay? The next one. The next one is one that I'll give you the stroke pattern, but I actually don't do the same as they do it. They do it stroke down, across and down, across. Okay? They do down, one, across and down, and then across. Okay? Myself, I just go G, N. Okay? Basically, you're making a box. However you can make a box, make a box. I just prefer, I think it's simpler to do it that, but whatever's comfortable with you. This is the M. Okay? Again, no funny business about this one, just an M, okay? A little bit more about this one. When I'm writing it later on, I tend to write it quickly. Sorry, I'll do the N first, then the G. It can look pretty circular at times. Some people, I've heard the question a lot, is that an M? What you know? One way you can tell, again, is the stroke pattern thing, okay? With mine, generally, so with this circle, there's just one sort of connection point, okay? With this one, there are two, okay? So that's one sort of distinguishing factor you can look for, okay? The next one. Stroke down, kind of a longer stroke. Stroke down, across, rugby posts, and across. Okay? Again, this is one I don't write the same. I just go stroke down, across, okay? Easier for me. Whatever's comfortable for you. This is the B. Okay? This one does have, like the G and the D, this does have that soft and hard groundedness. Occasionally it will be a soft P and hard B. Okay? And the example of this is Busan. Okay? Busan used to be spelled with a P, now it is spelled with a B. Okay? This soft and hard ground business, these are the only three that you'll see it for. The G, the first one, the D, and the B. It's the only three that have this. And so if it's confusing right now, again, just for simplicity's sake, just remember it as a G, a D, and a B. And when we're reading and when we see the rules, I'll certainly explain them. We'll practice them, okay, as to when it becomes harder and whatnot. Okay? The next one. Next, we have our shir. This is the S, okay? One thing I will say about this is it is a softer S than we have, okay? We're generally a little bit harder on our S's, okay? A full it's full-tongued. Theirs will be softer. It will be a little bit more airy, okay? A little bit more tip of the tongue, okay? Again, when we're reading, we'll work on pronunciation with that. Sorry, the stroke pattern for this one. Down to the left, and then down to the right. Okay, just like that. Okay. The next one, make a circle. Okay, that's all. This one has a couple of cases. Okay, we've seen it in our example already. Okay, the first case is in the beginning or first position of a block. Okay? It will be silent. Okay, so our example before, we had this and then this. This is the E sound. Okay, this is first. It is silent. The writing rule says for every block, you have to have a consonant first. Okay, that's our first writing rule. So if you want a block just to be the sound of a vowel, okay, as in this case, just E, you have to write a consonant first. So you write this silent one. Okay? The second case is when it is in the final position of a block. Okay? Here's our block. Let's say we had this again, first position, silent, and then our E. If we have it in the final position of a block, then it is an NG sound, an ng, okay? Here we have E. This would be ing, okay? Almost our ing, ing, okay, or E-E-N-G, ing, okay? This vowel can change. You can have an ong, okay, an and ung, okay, but this thing in the bottom here is just the NG part of that. Okay? Alright, the next one I'm going to do will look a little bit different up here than it does on your sheet. Just a different font, okay? Going back to your S, we had a stroke down and then down to the right. Okay? The next one here will be the same, but with a little tick above. So just be, okay, that. Okay? Without lifting your pen or pencil, and then down to the right. Okay? So it's basically the same, just with a tick above. Okay? Yeah. And this is the J. Okay? Again, similar to the S, this will be softer than our J. Okay, our J is quite full-tongued J. Okay, theirs is more, it's lighter, it's more tip of the tongue J, 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 J. Okay. The S and the J, I'm saying they're softer. There is a time when they will be harder. They will be more like, you know, our S and our J, more full-tongued, harder. And you can actually see it written, okay? And that's a double. Okay, when you have a double S and a double J, then it is harder, okay? It creates stress in the sentence. These we'll get into, these double consonants. There are 3 other ones that take these double forms. And we'll get into this in more detail in the next class. Okay? For now, just keep the S and the J and just know they're a little bit softer, okay? And again, when we're reading down the road, I'll certainly, you know, try to correct your pronunciation and we'll work on that together, okay? The next one, again, similar to the J, will look different when I write it here, okay? I don't suggest using these forms on your paper. I suggest using the way I'm giving them to you. For example, if you look at the J on your paper, it's a line, okay, like that. Now the problem with this is, if you ever did this and happened to go above that line, well, now you have the character below it. Okay, so to avoid confusion, I would use it this way. Okay, you'll see this kind of stuff on signs and whatnot, but for writing, I would use this way. Okay, this one is the same as the J, but with a little tick above it. Tick, and then make a J. Okay. And this is their CH. Okay. I'd say it's a little bit softer, but to be honest, it won't really matter. It's not. It's pretty unnoticeable. It won't make a difference. There's not really too many problems with pronunciation that will arise from this. Okay. It's pretty much just a straight up CH. Next one. Stroke down and then tick. Okay? Down and then tick. Basically looks like a backwards capital F. This is a K, and this is a true K, okay? A hard K. Before we had that middle ground soft hard business, this does not have that. It's just a straight up K. Okay? And the next one, stroke across, down across, and in the middle, make a capital E, basically. 1, 2, 3, okay? This is a T, okay? Same as this K, no funny business, just a T, okay? The next one, across, down, down, across, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Across, down, down, across. This is the P, okay? You can kind of group these 3 together. No soft, hard business, no funny business, just a straight up P, okay? And you can group these 3 together for another reason, in the fact that they're used a lot more commonly. These ones aren't actually that common. They're not real uncommon, but they're not that common in Korean words. They're much, much more common in English words that are being written phonetically in Korean. So if you wanted to say, you know, car, okay, not writing the Korean word for car, writing the English word car in Korean phonetically. Okay, there is no R, so they'll just use the ah vowel, which we haven't learned yet, we'll get to soon. They use the ah with this, okay, with this K, so ka, okay? That would be the phonetic spelling of car. Okay? So in words like this, Konglish words, you'll find these 3 are quite common. Okay? And one more thing, you'll notice that these 3 do correspond to these 3 up here that have that soft, hard business. Okay? So like I say, for simplicity's sake, I would take these as the softer sounds. This is the G, this is the D, okay, and this is the B. Okay? And then these ones are the harder sounds. Okay? And again, when we do, you know, later when we're reading and we see these, the situations where these get pushed to their harder edge, Okay, I'll certainly point it out. We'll practice it. Okay, won't be a problem. The last one. This will look a tiny bit different when I write it than on your sheet. This one, either way is fine. Whatever you're comfortable with. I just make a tick down and a cross. Okay, just a small tick down and then a cross. Okay, and then underneath that. Okay, that is one character. That is one consonant. Okay, and this is the H. A little bit about this one. This is what I call a special character. If you look on your third page, I believe, second or third page, it's listed under special characters. And the reason for that is it's an H, but similar to English, you don't always hear the H's. They're soft, so a lot of times they're drowned out by other sounds. And also, it will interact with other consonants later on and change their sounds. And that actually, these three up here with the hard and soft business, that's one rule that we will get into. I'll actually show you a little bit quickly here now. But that H will just force all of those up to their harder edge, okay? To give you one example, if anyone knows the word jota, okay, it means to be good, it's good, okay? Jota. It's in its base form, it's more of an observation, okay? And it's written like this, okay? This is your J, your O vowel, which we haven't get into, we'll get into it in a second, and then your H, okay? So this is jot by itself, and then your D, and your A, da, okay? Now, what this is doing, you can see we have an H here in the bottom, and a D in the first place, okay? This will combine, it will push this D to its harder edge, and it will make a T sound come out, okay? Jota. Okay? Jota. So when I say this is a special character, okay, we'll get into more of this later. I'll give you more examples. But yeah. Okay? Any questions?